Welcome back, everybody. It is 12 noon Eastern time, high noon on the East Coast, and it is time for the Printing United Expo Power Hour, which means my co-host, Ashley Roberts, the content director from Printing Impressions, is joining me from her lovely abode in, do we tell people where you live in Philadelphia?
Yeah, not the address, but yes, Philadelphia.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know your address, just so you know. So we can't give that away. So Ashley, you're the co-host of this and you know more about the expo than I do. So I'm going to actually turn it over to you and I'll be your co-host for a little while.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you for having me on right now. Yeah. So we have a lineup of really great speakers today and then also for the week during the Power Hour. It's going to be a mixture of some of my colleagues as well as, some all-stars who are going to be at the expo, some people you'll see on the show floor, kind of hear from them, their experiences, what they are planning for the expo. And so it's a good opportunity to kind of hear from people who will be there. And if you see them on the show floor, stop and say hi. Ask them about, things that we talk about today. Yeah. So I know, first up we have,
well, wait a second, Ash. Let's talk that we have a strategy to these power hours and each day has a different theme that we can focus on. And today we're going to focus on mailing.
Yep.
So before we bring on our guests, why don't say a few words about why this is an important segment to the industry and why is it an important segment that you actually wanted to dedicate this hour to that?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Good. Set the scene. So, yes, every day is a different segment. Today is mailing. So we have some mailing folks coming on. There are so many changes happening, with the USPS regulations, postal rates, everything. And I think there is a desire for people who are in the mailing segment, those who are either traditional direct mail printers, commercial printers in the mailing space, to keep on top of trends, to keep on top of, the technology and the equipment in that space. So there is a mailing community that will be at the expo. There's going to be education dedicated to the mailing segment. There's, of course, exhibitors who are showcasing different, technology in that space. And so it is really important that we focus on the mailing segment. Yeah. The rest of the week, we do have commercial tomorrow, wide format Wednesday, packaging Thursday, and apparel and promo Friday. So no one's going to be left out, but we are starting the week with mailing.
I also want to mention to everybody who's watching and will watch the replays that I am fortunate enough that I am able to work with you and provide some content to your Printing Impressions content that you have there, and it goes through the newsletter. And when we were having conversations about what I could cover that might not be covered, you mentioned that the big hot topic on your site is direct mail. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. And if you want to bring your guests in, please do, because I know they contribute to that. But I think it's really important that, when there's a whole bunch of people really focusing on something and maybe you're not, I'm not saying that doesn't mean, okay, if everyone's going left, you go right. That is a strategy. But when it comes to direct mail, I don't think anyone can really go the opposite direction. So please.
Right. And I think, so that's a great point to bring up. And yes, we will, I'm sure, talk about that in our next little segment here. But yes, so direct mail, definitely an area of interest. I think a big thing driving that is, and this may be tired at this point, everyone's saying digital fatigue, but it is true. There are studies that have come out, from us, from our Donnelly, from other, companies, looking at the power of direct mail and how, the ROI from having that as part of your omnichannel campaign and really focusing on the power of direct mail and getting it into people's hands. It's something tangible people will hold on to. We understand that, but, getting that message across to, Yes, printers understand it too, but making sure that they know that they are educating their customers and the marketers and the people who are buying the print, and knowing that it's important that we relay that message that direct mail is incredibly important, and even more so now. And despite, rising postage costs, direct mail is still extremely powerful and worth it. So yes, that is a good segue to invite our guests. So Toni McQuilken, who is one of our senior editors on the team, and Paul Bobnak. Oh, hi, Toni. And Paul Bobnak, who is actually one of our contributors who writes about direct mail, but also is with Who's Mailing What, and has been in the direct mail space for a very long time. And actually, very long time. And they actually have a series together about mail. So.
Yep, it's thank you for having us, and you guys definitely hit on a lot of the trends that are driving direct mail right now. It is a hot spot, and I know I love mail, so I'm always down to talk about mail, which is why we started 5-Minute Mail, which runs every other week, and Paul and I talk about the mailing and just postal and kind of that entire universe, and we try and condense those topics down to 5 minutes or less, to kind of give people a little taste of what the current trends are and why they matter, why you should care. Because all of those things really they're important. Direct mail is changing. The kind of quote unquote spray and pray, where you could send 100,000 of the same piece and get good return on investment. Those days are over. But direct mail is still an extremely powerful channel, especially when it is part of a broader omnichannel campaign. And I think Printing United is a great place to be able to see some of that in action and talk to people who are doing it and be able to put all of those pieces together, rather than thinking of mails over here and your prints over here and your apparel's down over here. They're all one brand and one message you're trying to convey, and they really all need to work together to really be effective.
Yeah. And you're also involved with your local postal community, right?
I am. So as plugging the PCC system, the Postal Customer Council, pretty much every city in the country, you probably have a PCC chapter. So, make sure you reach out and join them, because it's a place for your local brands, your local print buyers, your local postal employees to all come together and talk about the trends. There's educational content. I know I've spoken at my local PCC several times. It's every month is a different educational topic. Sometimes it's about the latest postal trends. Sometimes it's about promotions. Sometimes it's just general educational content, to try and help everyone be better mailers and better printers. So highly, highly recommend that everyone join your local chapter, because it is an extremely valuable community that I don't think enough printers are involved with.
Yeah, that's a really good advice.
Okay. I want to talk about something you guys said before about trends. And if I were a printer and I was selling direct mail, and I talk about this all the time, I would sell on the security of print. You can't hack it. You can scan a QR code. It's going to be safe. You don't have to be a forensic detective in your email. Print is the best way to start a relationship with anybody or reignite it in a safe and secure manner, even to get people to digital channels, even to say, use this QR code for a secure sign up for our newsletter. You will know it's us because, I get emails like this from Bank of America daily about how to recognize if it's not the correct email. So people are just not responding to being bombarded with links and things. And when it comes to trends, I'll say this and then I'll open it up for you guys. When it comes to trends, I would say that if you have a press, you could probably print something that is the size of a postcard and bring it to the mail, to the post office or the Royal Mail or the Post, wherever you're watching from, and send it out. And a lot of times printers don't want to get involved in that conversation about, there's other ways you can be doing this. And I think trend-wise, tying it with the marketing technology, if you're not doing that, like I don't really understand. So I'll leave that to you now as just what is going on out there.
And I think that's exactly it is, Ashley alluded to digital fatigue, but it goes beyond that. We've all been trained not to trust email. That, how there are so many malicious actors out there that even if it's coming from a reputable source, even if it's a newsletter you signed up for, you see a link and your first impulse is that I don't want to click on this because this could, give me a virus. Mail doesn't have that attached. People still trust mail. When they get something from a brand in the mail, they know that it came from that brand. They don't have that split second reaction of, is this coming from a bad actor? Is this coming from somebody who is trying to trick me so that they can steal my information? If you get something from ABC Corporation down the street, you trust that it's coming from ABC Corporation. And that really can start that conversation. You can then lead them into your digital channels, give them, like you mentioned, Deb, a QR code or something that kind of brings them into that ecosystem and helps build that trust so that when they do get that email newsletter or that communication in another form, they're going to trust it because they've already had that relationship and have already proven that you are who you say you are.
Right.
And I think that it's also, though, like I mentioned, it can't be spray and pray.
Right.
If they get junk mail and they get something that they feel like is just every house in a 10-mile radius is getting the same thing, you're actually going to get the same reaction you would as just a generic email. It's not even going to make it into the house. It's going to go directly from the mailbox into their recycling bin, and they're not even going to look twice at it. So I think that's where things like the digital technologies for personalization come in. And when we say that, it doesn't have to be every single element on every single mailer has to be completely unique for every single person who receives it. I mean, would that be nice? Sure, but it's not realistic.
Right.
Even just one or two elements, or even having just one or two versions that are very highly targeted to the correct people.
Right.
It's not really variable, but it still feels like it's making a connection. And that's where you start that trust conversation. That's where you start that relationship.
Yeah.
Because then you've got that, this company sees me.
Exactly.
They want to talk to me, not my neighbor, not the guy down the street.
Yeah. And as a former agency print buyer, I can tell you when digital print came around and they're like, you could do 5,000 different ones. And we were like, yeah, no, thank you. We do not want to do 5,000.
Exactly. And I'm going to plug my own session at Printing United because I will actually be hosting a session kind of on this very topic called Steal These Ideas, where I've got a bunch of fictional companies and scenarios that I've come up with ideas about how to take that concept of it doesn't have to be every single element variable. Here's how you can do versions. Here's how you can take one variable element and make it very personal and make it feel like it is a piece of one, even if it's really not.
Yeah.
So my goal is that everyone who attends my session, hopefully I see you all there, will come away with one idea or one spark of, maybe it's not a coffee shop, but maybe it's a different kind of company. But I could kind of use that same concept and build off of that and create something really unique for them that could really drive engagement for them. So make sure you all come to see it in action because it's one thing to say use variable or use personal or use version. It's another to say, okay, now what? How do I do that? Yeah. Even if I know I should, how? So that's my goal is to kind of give some how.
I always, say customization is the conversation I would have, not a personalization.
Yeah.
And to use the simplest example that I always say is think about a veterinarian. Why am I getting a dog on my postcard when I have a cat?
Exactly.
Just put a cat on it. You want to go crazy? Put my cat on it. You want to, which is possible, but that goes into the down the line. We can talk about that. Ashley, you want to bring Paul in?
Yes. Yeah. So Paul, I know you were with Who's Mailing What for a long time. So maybe just quick, tell us kind of your connection to the mailing industry over the years.
Okay. Sure. Well, Who's Mailing What originated in 1984, and I started working for Who's Mailing What around 2000. and basically ran it until 2017, and it was sold off and owned by another company. And 3 years ago, it was acquired by Direct Mail 2.0. So what I do for them today is write blog pieces and articles and short-term videos. And I also host a series called video series, which is on YouTube as well as on the Who's Mailing website, called Meet the Mailers. And this is basically a thought leadership series, up to 55 episodes now, where I talk to people in the like print mail ecosystem, different levels of positions. Some of them are C-level, some of them are more practitioner, just talking about like who they are, what their story is, what brought them to where they are. Some of these people are founders and have like a really interesting winding road to where they got to, and what their thoughts are about mail. And if there's a innovation or something that they want to talk about their company, I let them talk about it. I always tell people, if you have samples you want to show, within reason, you can show samples. Not everybody does that, but that's okay too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so, Deb, you had brought up kind of a trend with the security of direct mail, but Paul, you write for us. You
Yes, right.
submit blogs, and you also do a column every other month in the printed magazine of Printing Impressions. And you talk about trends a lot, or you'll talk about like kind of myths that people have or expectations they have about direct mail, and you kind of bust those myths. So what are some of the trends that you're looking at in the mailing space right now? And, maybe if we tie it into the expo, kind of how are you approaching the expo with those trends in mind?
Right. Well, first of all, I think that the expo is really well represented. And if you look at the planner on the website, it breaks down that there are 31 companies in the mailing industry. These are, where they're specifically tagged that way. But in reality, there's a lot more companies that are involved in mail than the ones that are, tagged with that in the database. So, talking about all kinds of like big companies, Ricoh, Canon, Xerox, Skoda, XMPi. All kinds of other companies, BCC Software and Quadient and Printware and Kirk Rudy and Walker and MCS and United Business Mail. These are all companies that are helping people find ways to mail better. And we all, you talked about that at the beginning. Why is that? Why is that a concern right now? Well, we know that postage rates continue to go up really high, especially the last several years. The Postal Service has asked for another increase for January, on top of the one that we got last month. And there's a lot of people who are still really could be mailing better, mailing smarter. So these are companies with solutions to many of those same issues. And so I'm really looking forward to finding out what specifically they're doing, what they're doing to help people mail better. But beyond that, there's also just the general trends, which, Toni talked about, which is the days of spray and pray are dwindling. They're going away, because who can afford to mail like a ton anymore? Who can afford to mail just spray and pray and get back, lots of nixies and, not run their database against national change of address and all the other tools that the Postal Service has and all the other tools that are available out there in the industry? Those are the smart things to do. Those are the things that everybody should be doing. But there are also like a lot of other sort of mini trends that the Postal Service kind of helps along by offering incentives to mailers. So some of them, there's a sustainability add-on incentive. So I'm seeing like more companies that are kind of using that when they're doing another promotion. And these are eco messaging, our paper is FSC certified, or this is, printed with a plant-based ink. They're just things like that. I think like finishings and coatings, embossing, debossing, metallic inks. I mean, these are all things that opt up from different mailers to make a mail piece stand out. Because even though, as we've talked about, as Toni was talking about, especially, the volume of mail is going down, and the volume of what people get in their everyday mailbox is going down. But you still want your mail piece to stand out. You still don't want to have your customer go into their mailbox and just start going through and just say, it looks like what I've gotten for the last 5, 10, 15, whatever years. You want something to wow them. So this is where all these, finishing and coatings, really can wow them and have that power. And you don't have to mail it to, a large universe, a large target audience. You can be really like selective about how you do that with your segmentation. So that's something that I'm seeing more of. And of course, some of those techniques are incentivized again by USPS. So people really need to be a lot more educated about, what the qualifications are and looking at it and seeing what they can qualify for their mailings. And I think just like in general, I'm tending to see like a little bit more careful segmentation, loyalty, reaching out to people, because basically, why not go back to, you can't continually just go back to try to find new audiences and new customers. You do better if you reach your existing customers. If you're a nonprofit, going back to your existing donors and trying to reach them again and in different ways.
Right.
And I want to add on too that one thing we haven't touched on is generational. That surprisingly, every study that I've seen that's come out in the last few years, it's the 18 to 35-year-olds who love mail. Like when they're asked what their most preferred marketing message, medium is, direct mail is always right at the very top. They want to get mail. They view it, some of us that grew up, we think of, junk mail, or we remember those times when our mailbox was just full of stuff. The millennials and kind of younger generations, they grew up in a digital world where everything was on a screen. To them, getting something in the mail feels exciting. It feels new. It feels unique. So it is, especially for those who work with brands who have a younger skewed audience, I think you're overlooking how powerful a medium mail really is to reaching that specific segment.
Okay, I have to jump in on this one for a second because yes, the Gen Zers love mail if it's for them.
Yeah.
If they don't what they see in their mailbox is dead trees if it's not for them. It's how they feel about it.
Exactly.
But when it's there, like, I think the best examples are the solicitations for colleges, for universities, if people are able to attend or they're interested in looking, and to use that web activity to see what they're interested in, and then send a trickle campaign leading them further and further down the road. And that is super important to them, that they have something in the mailbox. But just mailing for the sake of mailing, and Paul, just to your point, the only personalization / customization I really get are from the utilities, because they have to know my my things, my credit card companies that know my purchases, and any loyalty programs. Everything else in my mailbox, because every door direct mail is dear occupant. And I mean, I sort it like everybody else. No, this is for me. But it's not necessarily a shiny thing that does it. It's the relevance. And that is kind of where we're walking a line here, because the print, like everything everybody said here is spot on. It's not a new story. Where the push has to be is a printer being willing to have marketing conversations with their customers.
Mhm.
So let's address that. And then Ashley, I know you have other guests to come on.
Yeah.
And I think for me, Deb, you're spot on. And I think where printers back away or they get afraid to have that conversation is it's like, well, my clients don't have that kind of data on their customers. They don't have it. It's like, what I don't think they realize is you don't need a whole lot. If
Do you
you
have a
know
dog?
whether
Or
they
do you have
are
a
male or
cat?
female, put a
Right.
girl or a boy on your mailer. If they're coming to your website and you're doing like a programmatic to follow up with a postcard because they didn't purchase something, put the image of what they were looking at on your website on the postcard instead of just a generic, hey, we'd love to have you back. It doesn't have to be this massive database of, down to the minutia of who they are. Even just a single data point can make a massive difference in how targeted and relevant a piece feels.
That's why I always use the veterinarian example. They know what kind of pet you
Yeah.
have. It's that simple. They know they have your address because they fill out a form, you pay a bill.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you need to know. Plus, whatever it is, it's time for your pet's shot. It's there's a new thing going around. Make sure that, it's flea and tick season, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Right.
Like Chewy.
I use
Chewy is a perfect example because I have kittens.
We
and
love Chewy,
they
by
just
the way.
turned a year old last month. So but Chewy, because I put the information in when I first got them, I have a regular auto ship. Chewy sent them a birthday card that had a cat on the front and had their name printed on it. Happy birthday, Nix. Happy birthday, Nova. Those are my kittens. With an actual, when it was a cat. It wasn't my cat. It didn't need to be. It was a cat with a birthday hat on. But I still have that card on my refrigerator with the Chewy branding on it. But that's all. It was 2 data points, that it was a cat and the name of the cat.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that was different for probably the hundreds of thousands of them that they send out. It can be that simple.
Yeah, and you could have gotten an iguana with a hat on and thought it was really funny, and isn't that great? But the cat made you feel something about the company.
Connection.
It felt like it was for me and for my situation and not just the generic. Like I said, that's 2 data points.
Right.
That's all it takes. And even just 1 data point, even if it had just been a bunch of animals on the cover because they don't want to have multiple images with their name on it. Even that is sometimes all you need. It's about using the little small bits of data smart that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Ashley,
And I'd also,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to add into that, transactional mailers have like a real opportunity to have that kind of mail. I know like my local utility, they will send me every month, basically a breakdown of my electrical use, comparing me to my neighbors and say, this is what you spent last month. This is what your neighbors spend. This is what the average is for your area or whatever. And, it really gives you like a really valuable, relevant information. And, the problem is, no problem, but more like a challenge is that when you have like a large amount of data about people, you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of data points. So as a marketer, your challenge is to go to your printer and say, look, we have all this data, but we have to have a conversation or several conversations. What is the strategy here? Help us figure out what information is important and we'll leverage that information. But that's like, it's a big task, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah, figuring out what the goal of the campaign. Are you trying to sell something? Are you trying to build awareness? Are you trying to just start a relationship so that they know who you are and recognize your name? I think all of those are very different conversations and can be accomplished with very different types of data points.
Yeah.
So I think that's where printers and marketing, where that conversation needs to start, is not just taking a direct mail postcard order or whatever and printing it, but really starting that conversation. What is your goal here? What are you hoping to accomplish? In an ideal world, what is the ideal outcome for this campaign? And then work backward.
Yeah. So your colleague Carly put the link to your session in the LinkedIn event. And I see Colin is waiting to come on, which is actually a perfect time because now we've made the case why this is all important. And now it is, how do the printers communicate this to their customers?
Mm-hmm.
And that is what Colin teaches everybody how to do.
Quick, 30 seconds before we move over to our next guest. Paul, you're one of our all-stars this year, right? So
Sorry.
Yes, so people are going to see you walking around as an all-star. Can you just talk about that and your experience really quick, like 30 seconds?
Okay, well, I'm going to be walking around with microphone, my phone, just get a couple quick Q&As from different people from a lot of different companies besides the mailing companies in the mailing ecosystem. I'm looking forward to doing that, and also be on a session on Wednesday at 2 p.m. talking about the latest printing technologies used by mailers. So between me and Toni, we have 2 sessions.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
And thank you for joining us.
And can't
Right.
wait to see everybody at Printing United. Make sure you come find us and stop us and talk about mail, because I will always stop and talk about mail.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey.
Excellent. Now, unfortunately, Riverside does not have subtitles for our next guest, who has a bit of a thick. Why am I even trying to do that?
That was not a Scottish accent. But we'll hear it live. We're going to hear it live in just a moment.
It's not going to work out. Okay, so what before Colin pops on, why did you want him to pop on?
Yeah, so Colin Sinclair McDermott is our next guest. He's the online print coach. He's also, I believe, an all-star this year. But he is, it was announced this year that the Expo is doing a partnership with the Print Mastermind community. So exciting. That's brand new this year. And it's going to be with the Spill the Ink initiative, which we'll talk more about, but, definitely really great to get, the printing community to, come together, talk, share things. I think that's incredibly important. And Colin is a great person to do that. So yeah, had to have him on.
Yeah. Okay, Colin, where are you?
I'm here.
There he is.
Hi, Colin.
Hey, how are you guys? Deborah, we need to work in that accent. Let's just, it gets worse.
I stopped myself. I didn't. Okay, thank you, Ash. Everyone's a critic of me trying to be international. Fine. It's so lovely to see you, sir. How's it going?
Thanks, you guys. I'm loving. I've been watching this for the last while. It's great.
Oh, excellent. Glad it's working. So, go ahead, Ashley. I don't want to step on your.
Yeah. Well, so I was just going to say, Colin, I gave you a very terrible introduction because I didn't say too much, but I'd love for you to just give a quick introduction of who you are, what you do, and why you'll be at the Expo this year.
Sure. So the short version, Colin Sinclair McDermott, also known as the online print coach. Been in the industry for 30 years. I've owned 2 print businesses, lost one, had one more successful one. And for the last 6 years, I've been coaching businesses of all shapes and sizes right across the industry, all around the world. Best job in the world. And then over the last 2 years, we've been building a platform which you alluded to called Print Mastermind, which I think we're going to speak about as well. But ultimately, that's an online training platform and community for people in the industry.
Mm-hmm. And you were at the Expo last year?
I was.
Okay. All right. So you'll, of course, be back again this year. And I think just a couple of weeks ago it was announced that there's kind of a partnership with the Expo and the Print Mastermind community. So maybe let's talk about that.
Yeah. So it kind of led on from kind of last year. Obviously, we had Spill the Ink, which a lot of the All-Stars were involved in helping out with as well. And it's really just kind of building on what.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop you. Spill the Ink, for anyone who does not know what Spill the Ink is, it's an opportunity for people at the Expo to come together and chat about different topics that are relevant to the industry, chat with your peers, and kind of in a more organized way. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So yeah, it's kind of building on what was started last year. So within Print Mastermind, we host these all year round, kind of round table discussions. We typically host about 3 every week at the moment. And really it was about bringing kind of that magic sauce that we have kind of going on a weekly basis and bringing it onto the expo floor. The Spill the Ink area has grown significantly this year. There's lots of different things going on in there between Print Mastermind. We've got the Expo All-Star Area Lounge now as well. There's a Sheet for Brain section. I know you had the guys on earlier on today as well. We've got photo booths. We've got the podcast booths. There's stuff for Student Day. There's so much. It's like its own little village. And yeah, we're going to be a part of what's going on in that area this year. So very exciting.
Is this something that people have to sign up for beforehand, or can people just show up? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I would recommend to sign up. We do have limited spaces. At the moment we're running 3 sessions on the Wednesday and the Thursday, and 2 on the Friday. And yeah, the registrations are already starting to kind of rack up. So I think if you want to be there, again, if it fills up, we may look to put on other sessions. But I think to be safe, there is a link which hopefully you guys can put into the chat. But yeah, get registered, pick a session that works for you, and come along and enjoy the fun.
Perfect. Yes. And Carly, who is listening in, can drop that in the chat. Are there certain topics that attendees should expect?
There is. So there'll be different topics per table. So there'll be 5 tables per session. And really what we've done is we've taken from all the conversations. So again, we have kind of 3 hours a week, kind of for the last 2 years. So we've got a good understanding of the challenges that people are facing just now. So the conversation will very much be driven around the kind of top topics that we've discovered over the last 2 years. And they'll cover everything from sales, marketing, business systems and processes, AI, automation, finance, you name it, all the things you need to run a successful print business. They're going to be getting talked about in that area. And there's nothing better than sitting down with other people who are going through the same as you. And again, someone might have had the same challenges you had 6-12 months ago, and they can share with you kind of what they done to overcome that, or what lessons they learned. And that's the power of the kind of peer support that we bring to the show floor.
Or people are on the same journey, but they're coming at things differently, and it's a good way to expand that. Before you popped on, we were having a conversation about direct mail, and it was great that you were next because, in my opinion, there's a roadblock. There is something that says, my job print, my job not tell my client how to market, you know?
Mm-hmm.
However, to be effective and efficient and to keep providing services to those customers, I'm assuming they are going to expect a return on that. So how, Colin, this conversation has been going on for so many years. Mm-hmm. At one point, there was we're marketing service providers. And then that went away, thank God, because you're not a marketing service provider. If you're a printer, you're a marketing solutions provider. So how do you, or how have you been helping people breach that wall and get more involved in how and why, not just producing it?
Yeah. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. We are a marketing solutions provider, and the sooner we all realise that, the better. Because people don't really care what printed products they buy from us. They buy transformation. They want the transformation that your print products provide, and I think we forget that sometimes. So, yeah, certainly when I'm coaching or mentoring or training, I've got like an 8-stage kind of process that I go through with the clients, and I'll be touching on some of these things in my sessions at Printing United this year, But ultimately, it all comes back down to positioning yourself as an advisor to your customers. You've got to get under their skin. You've got to understand their business. I think it was Ashley that mentioned you've got to understand what the outcomes are that they're trying to achieve. And again, the more people we help in these areas, the more case studies and things we can use as examples to show people how they should be doing things. There was some great examples in that last session there around direct mail. And yeah, we need to get better at it. We need to understand who our customers are, what their pain points are, what are they trying to achieve. We don't ask enough questions before the sales actually happen. And I think that's something, again, I try and hammer home to the people I work with, but as an industry, we need to get better at.
There's also something that I think salespeople in general, they want the whole elephant. They don't just want a piece of the elephant. They want the whole elephant. So they pitch the whole, I want the elephant, instead of saying, like, say you have a customer and they're a local restaurant. Instead of just going in one day there for lunch, make sure you are a patron of this restaurant and ask, after your lovely meal, ask to talk to the manager and just, give them a business card, say what you do, and then find out, do they have that dead hour between 3 and 5 that there's no customers in there? Like, help them with one simple business goal, even if it's getting people on their Facebook page, because they don't want, that's how they want to communicate with people. And if you can do that and it doesn't scare them like, oh, they're trying to make me give all this customer data and all this other stuff, after you get 10 more people in the restaurant during those times during the week, then you can say, what else needs to go on around here? So it's not like they have to open up their books for you, but it's a trust-based relationship. So start with something that doesn't require much information other than where is somewhere that you need improvement right now. We're just going to focus on that one thing.
Yeah. 100%, couldn't agree more. And again, in that example, like the restaurant owner or whatever, they're not interested in kind of what material or kind of what particular products.
It's going to go on our Acme 960 and come out, Yeah, they're like, is that going to get more people ordering, a sandwich at 3:00 or not?
They just want bums on seats in the restaurant. They want the covers filled. And again, we can use that experience and we can say, well, we've worked with this restaurant in the next state, and kind of this was a project we done for them, and this was the ROI they got in that. Kind of when you can do that and you can build that confidence, because they need that confidence before they decide that they're going to buy from you as well. So they want examples of those proven results. And yeah, kind of start off small. It doesn't always. You're never going to get a new customer coming to you and give you a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 first print job. Like it doesn't happen. And in my experience, when it does happen, it's because they can't get credit anywhere else. So yeah, can start off small, show them why they chose you, why show them, kind of give them that aha moment throughout the process that makes them realize they've made the right decision and you've got their best interest at heart. You're not just an order taker. You're not just one of the other commodities that are out there.
Okay, I've got one last question, and I promise I'll turn this back over to Ashley. From the perspective of a salesperson, in no matter what it is that you want to sell, how do you suggest that the printers navigate the trade show?
You've got to have as many conversations as you possibly can. I think I gave this to. I think one of the All-Stars was collecting questions last week. I'm sure it was Jay. And a lot of people, they walk the show floor, they don't engage enough. They're just collecting brochures. And you're not making the most of your time at the expo if that's all you're doing. You've got to, I think the phrase I used was, you've got to collect conversations. And I think that's exactly it. Go there, immerse yourself in everything kind of that's happening. Go to the paid sessions, and come along to the Spill the Ink sessions. Come along to Print Mastermind. There is so much education and conversation to be had on that show floor. Don't shy away. Speak to as many people as you can. And I can't wait to see the ideas that people leave this show floor with, and what they're going to go back and do with it as well. And that's what we're all there to inspire each other.
Ashley, you there? Okay, no problem. Well, I know that Josh is in the waiting room. Ashley, oh, she can't hear me. So Colin, we will, if Aubrey, if you can let Josh in, you could stay here if you want, Colin. I don't know what
Yeah.
Ashley's plans are, but we can have more people.
There
Hello
he
there,
is.
Josh. He's back.
Hello, everybody.
So
Good to see you again, Deb and Colin. Always great to see you, my friend.
Always.
excellent. I'm sure that Ashley had a plan of what she was going to discuss with you here. She just had a little technical issue, so Aubrey is handling that with her. So we were really talking about, the something you said this morning. Oh, Ashley's back. Hello. Something you said this morning about, one of the most important things to do at the show is to talk to people, and Colin just echoed that.
Yes.
Ashley, I'll turn it back over to
sorry
you.
for the technical difficulties there. And I was enjoying listening to the questions you were asking, Deb, of Colin. I did want to ask Colin one more question before we turn it over to Josh. And that is, you are also an All-Star, and you're the captain of the All-Stars, right? Is that correct? Okay. Yes. Yes. So can you
For the
tell me
second year.
kind of
Had me
why
back.
it's important to have the All-Star program, and, can people come up to you on the show floor and chat to you about, things?
Absolutely, and that's the best thing about having a designated area this year where the All-Stars are going to be gathering. This will be the second year. Last year we had 15/16 All-Stars last year, and there's another 5 or 6 been added this year. It's imagine 21 of the loudest, most fun industry voices all coming together in one team. You would think it would be chaos, and for some reason it just works. We've got a great bunch of people in the team this year, and you've only got to take a look at LinkedIn to see the impact that they're having. I think Josh commented on how his thumb was getting sore from all the All-Star scrolling last week. So come along, speak to us. There's so much wealth of experience within that whole team, and we're going to be there for the whole time. So come along and have a chat with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us, guys. I will jump on to the flip side and keep watching.
Yeah. See you soon.
Safe travels, and I'll see you in Las Vegas.
See you very soon. Thanks for having me, guys. Take
Hi.
care.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, Ashley. Josh is back.
Real quick, I have to add, they're also the best dressed on the show floor with those
Yes.
amazing
Yes,
jerseys
that's
that they
awesome.
had
And
last
also
year,
easy
so I can't
to
wait to see what they
identify.
show up in.
Like
this year.
it's like when you have a family event and everybody wears the same shirt, and then you go somewhere and you can kind of immediately pick people out. It's a good way to be able to go up to them on the show floor and have conversations and know that they're a good person to talk to. So really, really smart. So Josh, you are one of my colleagues. With the Alliance. You are the Executive Vice President of Expositions. So we wanted to have you on. You're actually going to be on with us every day during the Alliance Power Hour to make sure that the people who are listening have the information that they need about the Expo, and kind of status of things. And today is our mailing session, but it doesn't have to be mailing specific. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing with the Expo, but then, what's new for this year? What's exciting? What are the show features that people should watch out for when they're at the Expo?
Yeah. So, real quick, we kind of covered it this morning, but just, the 5-second elevator tour is I've been with the Alliance since 2021. Primarily most of that time was spent on the membership side, although I came in initially on the Expo. That's my background, but got to learn a lot really about what the Alliance does by being immersed into the membership side. Also exposed to all the other verticals I wasn't familiar with. So it has been a absolute crash course in learning what makes all the communities tick. It's always amazing to see how similar they are. except it's just like a slightly different dialect, but there's basically the same processes, right? Like you're going to sell something, you're going to have, art, pre-press, on-press, post-press, finishing, fulfillment. I mean, it's generally going to follow that process. So it's interesting to see how everybody does it. And then recently this year came back over to the Expo team. So, it's like drinking from the fire hydrant, but I know what the water tastes like. So we have a great team in place. We've got a lot of amazing things. They were already in the, kind of in the chute because, as you know, Ashley, but for everybody else, it's not just like when the show ends, we just start planning the next one. These things are really like 16, 18 months in advance is when we start the planning process and start getting all these ideas. Listening to feedback from each show, of course, helps guide that and develop things as we go. And a couple of those things actually came to fruition for this year. So even though there's a lot of the same feature areas, I would never say they're not new. That's the one thing that I've always loved about trade shows myself is that, you're doing the same thing every year, but it's never the same thing. It never goes the same way. There's always a new challenge. There's always some new flavor or spice that gets added that completely changes the experience. And from what I caught when I just jumped on, it sounds like y'all are already down that road. Those conversations, those are opportunity cost if you don't come, because you don't know what conversations you just missed. And sometimes they're the most inspiring things of them all, or what you weren't expecting to do. So yes, there's as our colleague Brendan used to say, he's like, we like to have fun, but everybody's got to eat their vegetables. That people come to buy the equipment, and that's what they're there to do business. But you have to be open-minded, and you have to have a little fun and engage and get outside your comfort zone, say hello to somebody, go window shop, go explore. Because that's when you're going to discover something. That's when you're going to have that aha moment. So the things we've created this year especially are meant to encourage that, about making connections. We're people, right? This is why we didn't really touch on it, Deb, but earlier when you're like, 2021, interesting year to change in a trade show. There was never a doubt in my mind live events wouldn't come back, because we are human beings. We have like this instinctual, innate desire to gather for that camaraderie and that fellowship and to show off or to, do whatever it is. But that's what we do. That's why live events are so powerful. Yeah. So the features we've designed, obviously are meant to do that, whether they're educational based in the meeting rooms, or they're, on the floor in the different activations and areas and things like that. We've even tried to rethink how we are printing looks this year because, namesake and all.
Excellent. Well, Ashley, we need to wrap this up so that we can start the next section of the live stream, because there's limited a time that everybody lets us broadcast through their airwaves. So I did put the link in the chat, in the comments of the current thing that you're watching, everybody. But starting at 1:00, there's another link in another post that you need to go to. So please click that to find us. And we will be back with Clark Shearer from Offset
so I
Press
mean,
Supply, but go ahead, wrap it up
I
for
think
us,
Carly
Ashley.
probably already has dropped several links in the chat to to registration, to the Printing United Expo page, which has more information, some of the community stuff that Josh, you just mentioned. Real quick, there is an opening night party this year. Okay. When and where?
There is, yes. So from 7 to 10, opening night is at Resorts World at Zook and IU. Your badge gets you in, or if you stop by one of our sponsor booths, they'll have wristbands too. So show up. We'll have a list in case you forget your badge or you don't have a wristband. We'll make sure, but there's no charge. Look, Vegas is expensive, so T&E night one, and come have that fellowship, come have that camaraderie with the rest of the industry.
Oh, Josh, come on. Free drinks. Just say that. That's all you need to say. Okay, we will be back. Yes. Ashley, you are an awesome co-host. We should do this more often. Josh, it was great to see you again. And I'll see everybody on the other chat in a second. Thank you, everybody, so much.
See ya.